You've been lied to. Every morning routine influencer, every watered-down TEDx hustle guru, every feel-good podcast that told you success was just about passion and balance. They sold you pacifiers. Success doesn't reward balance, it crushes it. It doesn't respond to passion. It devours those who mistake emotion for strategy. You were never in a game. You were fed to it. You thought dropping out meant giving up. But Mukesh Ambani's empire was born the moment he walked away from Stanford. Not out of failure, out of clarity. He didn't see school as a stepping stone. He saw it as a leash. The lesson is simple. Those who wait for permission will always serve those who didn't. Look around. Who runs your life? The boss who dropped out and built the system, or the graduate clinging to job security in a cubicle coffin? The dropout doesn't hustle harder, they hustle different. They move like predators, not pilgrims. And if you think grades, degrees, or titles make you dangerous, you've already lost your claws. Here's the beheading question. When did you first realize your hustle beliefs were lies? You were told the system would protect you. But Ambani built an empire in a nation where the rules were elastic, power was tribal, and advantage came not from merit, but maneuvering. What they called corruption, he called calculus. What you call unethical, he called untapped. Hustling like a dropout is not about escaping school. It's about unlearning obedience. It's the ritual murder of conformity. Ambani didn't play by the rules. He rewrote them from behind the curtain. And if that truth disgusts you, it should. Because you've spent your whole life trying to be liked by the people who already own the game. Your college taught you to be a manager. Mukesh Ambani studied monopoly. You learned soft skills. He mastered soft war. And that's why you'll spend your prime writing emails while he redraws continents and contracts. This isn't a call to be rich. It's a call to stop being edible. You want to hustle like a dropout? First, drop out of your delusions. Every minute you spend pretending the world is fair is a minute your enemy sharpens his knife. Ambani didn't inherit ambition. He inherited hunger. What he built wasn't a business. It was a fortress. Against competition, against collapse, against comfort. He weaponized inconvenience and turned chaos into leverage. You're here trying to be liked. He's out there being feared. Still think it's about working hard? The hardest working people are usually the poorest. Why? Because they hustle inside cages. Ambani's hustle is structural. Yours is ornamental. He doesn't move faster. He moves with immunity. There is no success without sacrifice. But here's what they never told you. The first sacrifice must be your identity. Dropouts win not because they lack resources, but because they lack illusions. If this makes you angry, you're already losing. This isn't enlightenment, it's extraction. If you're still seeking motivation, close this video. You're not ready. The next part isn't a lesson, it's an incision. Mukesh Ambani didn't succeed by playing fair. He succeeded by making fair irrelevant. In his world, ethics are a matter of efficiency, and legality is just a phase to be negotiated. This is not corruption, this is clarity. When you understand that rules are written by winners, you stop asking for permission and start creating gravity. Power is not taken, it's engineered. Dhirubhai Ambani, Mukesh's father, taught him that control comes from asymmetry. You never compete where others expect. You corner the unseen market, the infrastructure, the lifelines. You don't dominate the spotlight. You own the electricity behind it. The most dangerous idea Ambani embodies is this. Legitimacy is a performance. You can act noble, speak softly, wear suits, but behind closed doors, you're drafting takeovers, neutralizing rivals, and rewriting the terms of engagement. Smile in public, bleed in private. That's the dance of domination. Dropouts like Ambani aren't rebels. They're architects. They don't reject systems. They replace them. While you chase grades, they chase monopolies. While you seek promotions, they build pyramids with themselves at the top. Hustling like a dropout means realizing the system was never designed for ascension. It's a maze for mice. He doesn't invest in ideas. He invests in inevitability. In telecom, he didn't chase customers. He cornered infrastructure. In oil, he didn't sell fuel. He became the pipeline. The lesson? Don't sell products. Sell needs. Control the supply and the demand becomes loyal by default. You think branding matters. Ambani doesn't brand, he engulfs. He doesn't market, he maneuvers. You're tweeting to grow, he's lobbying to rewrite import laws. You're pitching startups, he's buying the entire sector and writing off the competition as inefficiency. Strategy is sterile without audacity. Ambani's genius wasn't innovation, it was imposition. He didn't wait for disruption, he embodied it. He's not first to market, he's last to leave. While you're busy being clever, he's busy being absolute. Understand this, the world doesn't reward the reasonable. It submits to the relentless. Every law you revere, every regulation you obey, every moral you cling to, they're leashes unless you're the one holding them. Dropouts aren't fearless, they just fear mediocrity more than failure. Mukesh didn't climb ladders, he melted them. You still believe in climbing. He believes in swallowing the building. That's not hustle, that's hunger matured into structure. It's the difference between working and warring. You still think working hard will get you noticed. But Ambani didn't get noticed, he got inevitable. That's the goal. Hustle until your existence becomes a condition, not a choice. He didn't find gaps in the market. He made them. He didn't fill demand. He redirected it. That's what dropouts do when they weaponize awareness. Here's your shadow. If you still believe the path is linear, you're a spectator. Dropouts don't need maps. They make terrain. You're following steps. He's dictating gravity. Ambani never asked to be accepted. He demanded to be reckoned with. And that is the true dropout code. Not escape, but escalation. He didn't leave Stanford because he lacked the ability. He left because he lacked the patience to pretend the gatekeepers were gods. And that's the secret no one wants to hear. Real winners don't knock on doors. They kick down walls. A dropout is not someone who quits. A dropout is someone who stops being predictable. Mukesh Ambani mastered the art of unpredictability. And when you're unpredictable, you're ungovernable. Your hustle is seen as ambition. His is interpreted as inevitability. That's not a compliment. That's a coronation. You keep asking for exposure. He makes the world rotate in his shadow. That's not hustle. That's hegemony. 10-second segment that would make Mukesh Ambani smirk. Most people dream of owning a home. Mukesh built a tower that watches the city like a god with real estate envy. Let's compare naivety to consequence. You believed in fair play. In 2002, Reliance carved the telecom market into submission, offering services below cost. Competitors called it unethical. The public called it liberation. He called it Tuesday. You were taught to avoid enemies. Ambani cultivated them. Why? Because enemies keep you sharp. Friends expect favors. He didn't build networks for love. He built them to strangle inefficiency. You think government is a barrier. Ambani saw it as a blueprint. Politicians change, regulations shift, but leverage, once established, transcends policy. While you vote, he influences policy drafts. Your mentors told you to be nice. But nice never disrupted markets. Nice never turned oil into political muscle. Nice never built Geo. Geo didn't just compete. It detonated an entire industry and rebuilt it with himself at the center. Still think dropouts are failures? Then explain why Harvard grads send reports to Ambani's lieutenants. Success doesn't ask for validation. It leaves its footprint on necks. Let's drag in the historical slaughter. In the age of kings, power was bloodline. In Ambani's India, power is bandwidth, fuel, and food. And those who can't control infrastructure get ruled, no matter their diploma. You think you're hustling? He once shut down a competitor's expansion by purchasing the land around their tower sites, then held zoning permissions hostage. That's not hustle. That's war in a suit. While you're crying about being overworked, Ambani's team is negotiating billion-dollar deals at 3 a.m., fueled by ruthlessness, not Red Bull. This is psychological warfare disguised as business meetings. Remember your friend who launched a startup and folded in 18 months? They had dreams. He had infrastructure. Dreams don't win. Supply chains do. You want emotional fulfillment. He wants empires. And until your priorities mature, you'll keep confusing discomfort with injustice. Your version of failure is a rejection email. His version is a hostile acquisition falling short. You fear embarrassment. He fears irrelevance. Mukesh isn't driven by applause. He's driven by control. That's why he can afford silence. That's why you're still screaming into social media voids, hoping someone listens. You think competition makes you stronger. He thinks it makes him bored. Real power doesn't compete. It eradicates the need to. Still think school teaches you everything you need? Then why do its best graduates work in environments built by dropouts? You fear failure. He weaponized it. Every mistake is a mine. Every loss is bait. That's how dropouts evolve. They don't avoid losses. They architect comebacks. You wait for inspiration. He waits for weak spots. He doesn't look for chances. He manufactures inevitability. You were raised to be obedient. He was raised to be operative. That's the gap. That's why one of you builds and the other begs. This is your awakening or your execution. You're not being taught, you're being tested. You have two choices, adapt or be crushed. There's no middle class in war, only winners and witnesses. If this truth scars you, good. Scar tissue is the beginning of armor. You can't hustle like a dropout if you still need applause. You can't build like Ambani if you're afraid to be hated. The gods of commerce do not reward niceness. They reward precision and pain tolerance. Mukesh didn't choose this path because it was easy. He chose it because it was necessary. And now, so must you. Or step aside. Forget balance. Forget passion. Start thinking in levers, in control, in endurance. The dropout mindset isn't about escape. It's about evolution. You've spent years climbing ladders in companies that can replace you in hours. Why not build ladders others beg to ascend? If you're still asking for permission, you're not hustling. You're waiting to be forgotten. Permission is the enemy of propulsion. Ambani would never want you to idolize him. He would want you to outgrow him, but only if you can stomach the solitude of true power. If this makes you angry, you're already losing. You thought this video would inspire you. No, it was sent to dismantle your excuses, to assassinate your mediocrity. Because dropouts don't quit, they mutate. They get sharper, colder, more surgical with every rejection. So now it's you versus you, the weak version who needs permission, or the monstrous version who builds without it. Choose now.